I honestly think he the kind of guy that probably could fight a heavyweight and win the title. If you really think about it, like
This is Jonathan Aguilar, fifth pro boxing fans, joined by former lightweight world champion Mickey Bay. Mickey, good to meet you. Good to see you. How you doing?
oh man, I'm good, man. How about yourself?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Appreciate your time. Um, talk to us first of all. You've got a fight coming up in October. It's a good card. Tony Harrison's on it. There's other big names on it. Talk to us about the fight.
Yeah, it's a kind of like a feather I want to put in my cap. I had a lot of years off, man. During my career, you know, I had a management situation that was crazy. It'll probably be a movie one day, but it kept me out of the ring, man, so long to where I did decent on the outside looking in, but non-satisfactory as far as my talent. Like, not being able to get a lot of big fights and just being on the shelf because of this situation. It's a story that people mainly hear about in the back in the days in the boxing game, but I was caught up in it, but not to cry playing basically just me just staying focused throughout the years and living a clean lifestyle. I'm blessed to be able to even to get in there and compete at a high level. So I got a couple historical goals I want to go after and accomplish. Before it's all done. Once it's over, it's over. So I know I don't have too long, but I got a handful of fights where I know I can make some history.
What are your goals in the fights you've got left?
To become the oldest champion in the history of boxing under the middleweight division. So at 130 or 135. But if I'm not mistaken, if Pacquiao didn't do it, he might be the only one. If he was to win another belt, I wouldn't catch it. I'm not fighting that long. But other than him, I'll be the young oldest ever. Under, Hopkins and Foreman and all of them did it, but at the heavier divisions. But that's something I want to accomplish.
Yeah, I mean, talk to us about training now compared to maybe when you were champion. How does it compare, and like, do you have to adjust, or does your body feel fresh?
Yeah, it's fresh considering my age, but yeah, it is different. And I learned a lot because I took some years off and was training fighters as well. So
Yeah.
I got to learn a lot, and I got a lot smarter about the body because I was one of those fighters that had a great metabolism. So I never really had to diet or anything, even and especially in my 20s and even early 30s. But like now I got to eat better just because of the endurance part. Like I still got the same good metabolism, but I can't just eat cake, ice cream every day. Like if I want every day, I'm gonna feel it a little more now, like the sugar and stuff. I'm gonna get a little more tired in the gym. So and just kind of moderating, not doing too much, uh, and not overtraining really, because you can beat your body up and just do a little too much. Now I kind of train a little smarter versus harder.
Mm. And ideally for you, what's the path to what you want to achieve? Like, what are the names, and what is it, lightweight or 130?
Probably 130. It'd probably be easier. I'm open to taking big fights at either weight, but I was actually looking at Lamont Roach. Was funny as he's fighting Tank, but maybe after that. But any of those champions, Navarrete, him, and it's a couple more in that division. But really, I just want about maybe a handful of the top fights, just to prove like to come back and prove a point. And I know I can outperform myself as far as what the world's seeing because some of those fights I was fighting, like I say, was supposed to be underhanded. Because imagine your manager picking your fights. I ain't gonna go into full detail now, but I took big fights and title fights and stuff in 3 weeks' notice, and still lost by split decision off being off for years. The couple of losses that I do have, but I learned a lot, and I had a chance to train a few world champions. I'm still training a young kid now that actually fights tomorrow. I turned him pro at 15 years old. He's 16 now. He's getting his second win tomorrow over in Mexico. I couldn't make it with him this time, but he'll probably be more than well, not even a probably. He'll be a world champion for sure.
Mm.
And I worked with Devin Haney a few years, Shakur for a fight, Big Baby, Jared Anderson, Edgar Berlanga. So, I got my feet wet in that lane and got a chance to pretty much spread some of the knowledge, me training with Floyd Sr. my whole career. Floyd Mayweather Sr., I've been up under Emmanuel Stewart when I was a teen. So I got a lot of knowledge in that department as well.
Mm. So, you know, uh, obviously you had a very close fight with Kambosos a couple of years ago. Would that rematch interest you?
Yes, because that's one of the fights I was saying. I was off 3.5 years, right? I went to Mexico to fight just to get my activity, my license back. And that was only a 1 round fight. So in 3.5 years, I trained 4 weeks and gave a split decision. And I'm 10 years older than him. So if I was to fight him, I'm sure I could beat him if I had a whole camp and was a little more active. But, no excuses because that proved to me that I could compete at a high level. Because everybody was like, why are you picking this hard fight? When you've been off so many years. But I'm like, I want to see if I still got it in a real fight. Like, I don't want to play with it. So I did well with him and I saw, like, man, this wasn't a hard fight. I just was, I wasn't in top form and that was kind of a tough fight to be off. But that was my last, pretty much my last fight. I fought two in Mexico. Where are you from?
UK.
Okay, so over here, Mexico is like they do fights almost like through the whole country. It's probably 50 fights a week almost. So you can just go down there and just get a fight within a spur of 3 days. Like so, uh,
Yeah.
I did two fights down in Mexico within the last year. I barely count them, even though it still wins. But this would be my first fight. I'm fighting a kid 17 and Notice 23 years old. So I just want to prove, I could beat the young guys and give me a few more in. I'm smart. I know not to overdo it and try to stay too long, but I would like to challenge, the top best fighters and put a feather in my cap and do the best I can, put on some action packed good fights.
Do you feel like there's pressure going into this fight on October 26th? Like, if you want to get to those guys, you're not taking an easy touch here. You're fighting an undefeated guy who's, like you say, 23 years old, 17 and 0. He's got a pretty good knockout ratio. Like, do you have to sort of, make sure, all the focus is on this one?
Yeah, but my life is I live a disciplined life just all through and through. So I don't have to, I don't party, club, drink, smoke, do none of the stuff. Just I always live like a fighter anyway, just, a disciplined person, especially, I'm, got to be example to kids like David Garcia, the young kid that I train, and a lot of the other fighters that I train. So yeah, it is risky, but I like stuff like that. I'm one of them cats that just like it's kind of thrilling to me. I only want like things that I do got to reach high and try to go up to the mountaintop, man. I like taking risks, so I figured this is my last year or two of boxing. I might as well go out with a guns blazing.
Yeah. And I guess you don't want to look back and think, you know what, I could
Yeah,
have
man,
had
because
a
I
go
do that
and
now. I'm like, man, if I didn't had this business situation, this management situation, it almost looked like like maybe I wasn't like I stopped boxing or whatever the case people might have thought. But no, I wanted all of the big fights when I was fighting with other champions. But my manager at the time just it was just one of those situations to where you get a lot of guys over here across the world too, but you sometimes get guys they're more in it for themselves, and they like, man, you want me to stop screwing you, you're gonna have a problem. Almost like you starting to ask too many questions. Like, I know I'm getting cheated out of too much money, and when I wake up to it, it's like, all right, well, we got to sit this guy on the shelf. it's just crazy. Just long story short, I was getting robbed blind, and when I finally spoke up, I guess my payback was to, not be able to compete at all for years.
Mm. Just lastly, on yourself, like, are you looking to align yourself with any promoter? Because obviously all the guys with belts, I guess, are with certain promoters. So, like, are you looking to go down that route, or be free agent?
Well, it's kind of fun being a free agent now because, well, even though the guy from Saudi been making these fights with all of the promoters, but um, yeah, I'm open to it. That's why I want to prove myself in this kind of fight to show I still got it. Like, and everybody to see me in the gym to see me sparring with the caliber fighters I'm sparring. No, like, dang, I'm surprised. So, yeah, but I would like to, man. I would actually like to come over where you at and do some fights in the UK.
There's a lot of
Yeah,
guys.
like I wouldn't mind fighting. Well, no, he might be from Ireland, but his promoter, I think, what's his name? Like Anthony Kakot, what's his name?
Oh, Kakachi, yeah,
The tall guy. Yeah, I would take any of those kind of fights or come over and fight either him or what's the other guy? He just lost his belt.
Bush Warrington.
He was
No.
supposed to fight Shakur,
Oh,
but I think
Cordina. Joe
any
Cordina.
of those kind of guys, yeah, anybody you name, like so. To me, I'm gonna be all the way honest. I think the best fans in boxing are the UK fans and Mexico. I think Mexico and the UK got the best boxing fans. I would even say UK over anybody because UK pretty much um, just appreciate the game all the way across the board, 100%. So I would like to get a few fights over there before it's over.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys, to be fair, in that sort of weight class as well. So.
Yeah, and I would take any of them. So
Mm.
I would be glad to come over there and fight.
Uh, just want to ask you, Mickey, about the fight in Saudi Arabia next week, Beterbiev and Bivol. I saw a clip you did with a reporter years ago, and you were talking about sort of stories you've heard of Beterbiev and his power and stuff like that. And at the time, I think you picked Beterbiev to win. Does that like stay the same? Is that your prediction for next week?
Yeah, as long as he's still healthy and he not taking this fight prematurely, because I know he had that injury where he had to get surgery and he's going straight back into this fight. Now, if he's healthy, even 85, 90%, I'll say, yeah, still. I, I mean, I got to go with him because he perfect 20, 20, and 20, like until somebody prove him otherwise. But I do think it's a 50-50 fight because Bivol is a very good boxer. Like I had him beating Canelo before they fought. When I checked him out just about a week before they fought, I wasn't aware of. And I ended up laying some money on Bivol. He was almost 5-1 underdog, and I won. So Bivol's the guy to beat him. If it's anybody to beat him right there, is him. So it's 50-50. But if I had to pick, I would say Arthur. I would pick Beterbiev.
Yeah. What is it is it just what you've heard from guys that have sparred him that makes you think, what, this guy is like his power is like on a complete another level, or
Well, that's one of the things because it's coming from credible people. That's the thing. Like guys I know that been in with everybody, and they wouldn't even tell me the stuff that they told me. And I know one of his trainers well. So I even asked him, and he was like, "Man, his power just is beyond power. Like it's different. And not only that, he got skills. People overlook how good his skill set is. Like he can do. I mean, he can find his range. He can find the spots to punch. All of that adds up. Like it's not just like, oh, I'm just coming in and I'm just
yeah.
coming at you with bombs. He really knows how to open his opponents up and find the shots when it's open to the body or the head. He know how to cut the ring off and break you down. The only problem he probably have is fighting going backwards and movement himself. So Bivol fight in and out. He's not a knockout puncher, but he's an excellent boxer that's in great shape. So Bivol would have to really have Muhammad Ali legs for 12 rounds pretty much to where he can really, but 9 times out of 10, it's hard to move for 12 rounds straight against a guy like he gonna have to fight eventually. You might outbox him for even 8 or 9 rounds, but eventually you're gonna have to sit there and fight with him because Arthur is not just like a brawler. He's more of a stalk you and cut the ring off and then break you down kind of fighter. So I think that Bivol might give him trouble like the first 4 or 5 rounds. He might even be up every round. But I think that just when he get hit, if it's like I've been hearing all of this time, I think he gonna hurt Bivol and finish him.
Mm. I mean, like if Bivol can get to the 12th round, the final bell, does he win the fight?
Maybe, but the only thing is he could still get dropped 2 or 3 times and survive. So I don't see him not hitting the canvas. That's just my honest opinion. Like, unless he just crafty, I'm talking about just 1, 2, just all straight, just beating him with the jab and moving and. But it's hard, man, fighting a dude that's got the skill set like Artur Beterbiev. Like he can really close he can make that ring small
Yeah.
because he knows how to cut through. He got good skills. Like even if you look, when you look in his history of his career, you see him put Usyk down in the amateurs with a body shot. He just tapped him. Like it wasn't even a hard shot. Imagine if that was the pros, he probably would have stopped Usyk if it was more rounds. So I take all of that into effect to say, man, his power got to be real. I mean, it'd be fun to see him win because I honestly think he the kind of guy that probably could fight a heavyweight and win the title. If you really think about it, like if he can put on maybe get up to maybe 215 or something, he probably could win a heavyweight title because a lot of the heavyweights, I think that's why Usyk is hard to beat at that weight because even though he fights different, he's a mover and more of a slick boxer. He got better endurance than the heavyweights. A lot of heavyweights get tired, so a guy like Artur Beterbiev, if you put him with a guy that's right in front of him, he got the power to knock a heavyweight out, but better skills and endurance. So I would like to see him if he was to win to see him fight. No, I would like to see the winner fight Benavidez,
Mm.
but I would like to see Beterbiev, even fight a heavyweight one day.